Lycan very hard in lane. They're going to get like 50-50 more or less.
Which is kind of annoying if you get cog spammed, right? So you're not going to have that like early game kind of pressure, but I do think 1 versus 1 he's okay. Very high base armor, high damage. So yeah, it should be fine.
I'd be surprised at the offensive trial just because the way they normally play Earthshaker is he's very mobile on the map. He doesn't want to just be forced to stay in that on that side lane solo. He wants to be able to help out the mid lane and try and tip the scales into the Shadow Fiend's favor in the mid lane.
But the thing is, when you run an aggressive trial line on the Radiant, it's actually fairly easy to rotate, and he doesn't have to stay because I think Witch Doctor, Juggernaut are fairly self-sustainable, right? As long as they don't die, they can just heal up with Voodoo Restoration and Ward. So I feel like there will be an opportunity or two for Shaker to move, and then the questions of EHOME can keep tabs of him because of course if you're playing an aggressive trial line, it's easier to identify when the Shaker is moving, so your timing window is smaller, but it is still possible, especially if you play it around the runes where you're going to go anyway and check them. So we'll see. I still think they're going to safe lane as well, like you said, but I would like to see an aggressive trial lane.
Well, let's find out as we'll get ourselves underway. We'll see Draskell and Gods again at the end of this game, and it's just now you and me, Synderen. Let's get ourselves into it. So you've got yourself your defensive lane. It looks like CDEC's not going to run for it. So they move the Spirit Breaker towards the off lane. So it looks like we've got a very, very standard kind of style.
Yeah, the good news for EHOME in that regard is that the hero they'll be farming in the safe lane, of course, is going to be the Lycan. And when you look at CDEC's lineup, obviously magic damage is really weak against the Wolves. So the way they can deal with the Wolves is more or less only Juggernaut's attacks or Shadow Fiends. You can generally kite around the Spirit Breaker and be super annoying to the supports in the backline. Witch Doctor and Shaker do not deal with them that well. I guess Cask is okay, but then they go invis. So he can definitely, with a good farm on Lycan, fast level 4 Wolves, fast Necro Book, I guess it's going to be the build for Yang so they can fight better early. That might actually turn out really good for EHOME with this trade-off. But of course CDEC, they will be farming their safe lane Juggernaut. He's going to get very quick. I'm assuming he's going to go for... did he go face drums last time? Aggressive? I'm not sure.
Would you actually want to go face drums on the Lycan this time around?
No, on the Juggernaut.
On the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then it'll be face drums.
I think it just fits their playstyle.
Aggressive builds for the earlier game fights, and he can't do that if he's going to go for like a later game item.
I don't know if he goes... I feel like still most of the time Juggernauts go phase, Mask of Madness, Yasha, but I don't see this as a good game for that kind of build. Because then you're aiming for late game.
If you can sit back and farm, then that's fine. But if you're looking to try and contest like Lycan when he goes in for Roshan, then you're going to need something a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Alright, so actually CDEC ended up switching up their lanes a little bit, so they're running a dual lane. So we got Juggernaut and Witch Doctor on the bottom lane, and then up towards the top, that's where the Earthshaker is there to babysit the SB, and he's more there as just a protection factor, as shout out to Perfect World.
Yeah, well, he also did the classic level 1 thing for Shaker, which is to Fisher the offlane. So the offlane gets into a way better position for XZ here from the start. Doing a pretty good job at trying to harass him away, but he's getting a Stout Shield proc on seemingly every single attack there, and doesn't really care too much with 5 base armor anyway. So he's going to have a good start. This is basically a level 2 in the first wave for Spirit Breaker. No, that got denied. So he's close to level 2. Pull from Lanham already happening. He's trying for the combo. He will get it as well. And XZ has Skilled Grey or Bash first, so if he gets caught, he actually can't get out. He needs to be a little careful here.
I'm interested to see how that mid matchup goes. With the Storm versus the SF, obviously the Storm's going to have the advantage early on when you can get that bottle so early on too, but the SF's got his now, so can use the Razor to try and manipulate the lane. But it seems to be the classic matchup of these qualifiers, the SF versus Storm.
Yeah, I think until SF gets a few souls, Storm leads the lane, and after that, you're basically both just spam farming with spells. Shadow Fiend has an opportunity to get a kill until Storm is level 6, and after that it's impossible. So the timing for CDEC is probably to rotate in the Shaker when Shiki hits level 5 on the SF. And then if they block off the Storm nicely, that can set up 2, if not even 3 racers, and that is the way you get the kill. CTY, however, going to get the first rune. Bounty rune will be bottom. EHOME getting both of them. This goes to the Clockwork. That's level 3 for him. He's actually getting more than the Spirit Breaker, I think. Yeah, he's getting way more than the Spirit Breaker. Carter can't really keep him away on his own, and that's the problem with not having the Shaker down here from the start, is that RTK can really manipulate this lane, and there's no kill setup really without the Fissure. That's what they needed for aggressive to kill him.
Yeah. But right now, it looks like, well, the Fissure's not available. He's moving around inside the jungle from lane to lane. Wonder how long it's also going to be before CDEC try and do something in this mid. You are running an SB, so if SB's not getting the levels on top, do you just try and charge into the mid lane up against the Storm Spirit, or do you keep trying to do this? Like, he's got Orb of Venom as well as this Stout Shield. Does he try and get up in the face of DDC, in fact, and force this Ancient Apparition away from him?
Well, it looks like that's the play right now.
Well, the play is to actually kill him off. Lanham can go for the telekinesis if he wants to, but he needs the cold feet to trigger it, and there it goes. Dragging him back with a semi-portable block 2. They're going to lock him in, and the supports potentially can find the kill, but the charge away. He'll get out to the trees, down to the secret shop, and that will keep the SB alive for now.
I'm really surprised he played that like that. I feel like he took like 300 damage he didn't need to by running south. When he got cold feeted on the spot, and they tossed him upward. So he could run like 200 or 300 range to the north, and the cold feet would end, and then he could just charge a lane. Or he could instantly have tried to charge even just to the mid lane and take almost no damage. I think he would easily escape the cold feet range with that. So, well, he's going to have to use a salve and a tango as a result. He still has a bit of regen remaining. But this is a good play from EHOME, actually. They pressure him first, so now he's going to be cautious, and then they
bottom
smoke.
lane. I think Clockwork's in a lot of trouble right now. Down very, very low. At the same time, Juggernaut's not too healthy. And it's going to be the mid lane, which potentially could be the first blood. CTY already going to start with that overload slow. Lanham coming up behind him, telling him to pick up and throw back. He'll get in range for the cold feet as well. And there it is. That will be the first kill, as we'll see it frame by frame.
Yep. At least in that lag, you could see what was going on.
Yes.
That's kind of nice. Like, even though you didn't see the animations, you saw Shadow Fiend getting slowed twice. So 2 overloads with Remnant, and then of course just the lift with Chilling Touch, more than enough damage.
SB's getting nice and up and like.
Oh, he's got a haste rune.
Yeah. Looking for some kind of opening inside the dire jungle. Or at least making sure the supports can't easily rotate out and help out it, and like move to the next target and get momentum.
He's going to try mid again. Shaker is there this time.
He's so far back, CTY.
He's under a ward. He was charging from the middle of the river. That's... EHOME are definitely going to be ready for this in this type of game, where when they know this Spirit Breaker is off lane, this ward that they have up is actually one of the best wards you can have, the one up there, because it's gonna see the charge path almost no matter what. No matter where he starts from, he will be crossing through that ward from the top lane. And, oh boy, he might be in some trouble here. No mana.
Yeah, which means no charge. Lanham, though, actually...
Alright.
Does he not have enough for a telekinesis?
He does.
He does?
I feel like he should have just used that and dealt whatever damage they could, but maybe wants to keep it for later in case there was a rotation for the tower. And
they're letting it go.
Yeah.
They're not going to contest for the tier 1 tower. And Lycan's getting so much money. Like, he's already got 38 CS on the safe lane. Now he's going to destroy the top tower. This Vladimir is going to arrive very, very quickly, and probably also the Medallion of Courage not far behind it.
Yeah, if he wants that. I think the other Lycan game I've seen in this tournament, that Lycan did not get Medallion. He got Vlad's only and then into Book, I believe.
But it seems like this game is going to go a little bit longer, and Roshan's a little bit more critical for them.
Yeah.
Hence my mind goes to Medallion.
Yeah, there's not really any other hero that can get the Medallion for their team reliably. Like, you can get it on an AA or Rubik, but I don't really think they have the gold for it when it matters. So I guess it's a good pickup on Lycan. It is, of course, fairly expensive, right? It's like 1,200 gold you invest into that, which is about half of your Necro 1. So you are delaying your impact for all other purposes than Roshan, pretty much. Like, it's not like it's useless in fights. It's still good with your wolves, but generally a Necro book is more powerful than Medallion for the fights. So, well, I guess it's... He won't really have a problem regardless. He's getting so good farm. No one's contesting him. They haven't blocked any camps, so now they can start jungling the Lycan, safe lane the AA. Very classic when you draft these heroes together. Get the AA, the level 6 from the safe lane, and just put the Lycan into the jungle. He has the Vlads already, I believe. That's the completed Vlads, right? Is he missing anything?
He's...
Morbid Mask.
Yeah, that's it. Just the mask.
So
always got to remember the new
gold.
recipe. with the headdress in there, it always feels a little weird.
It got a little bit more expensive, but of course affects ranged heroes too now, which is kind of nice for a hero like Storm, to be honest. He's one of the ranged heroes that a lot of people often think of Storm as like a magic damage dealer, and of course Overload and Ball Lightning is a lot of magic damage, but he is very much based off attacking all the time. That's what triggers the Overloads in the first place. So that 10% lifesteal can very possibly make a difference in a couple of fights.
I like how CTY is also backing up, so EHOME support's going to find their levels, and they're so critical too. When you got a Rubik who wants to have level 6, there's so many good things to steal, and then also Ancient Apparition for the Ice Blast, required to give them that extra advantage during the fights. So the timing is right to put the supports there, but at the same time, CDEC now try and find these easier kills, which are just sitting on the lanes, which are the under-leveled supports.
Yeah. That's another good thing about the Storm leaving, or not a good thing about him leaving, being in the jungle, is that they can't really gank him. But if they would have found him, that wouldn't have happened. DDC, however, should be an easy kill.
Yeah.
Nice Shadow Raise. Emphasis on the Shadow. But it was there. Oh, Fissure.
Yeah.
Sick.
It arrived. It arrived eventually. Yeah, but it was the Fissure start up to the charge, and then one Shadow Raise to find the kill. That's what ended up happening.
That's not really that good of a smoke, though. I can understand. I mean, it's something,
Especially if they lose out
right?
like this.
Oh,
CTY
nice
jumping down, the Fissure's not going to connect him, so CTY already taking out the Witch Doctor. But the rest of CDEC was able to retreat back out. So yeah, you're right. They commit a smoke, but you only
He
get
looks
one
super
kill.
cool.
Man.
This is like some Dragon Ball Z to your shit.
He can't handle that much electricity.
Oh, no, it fixed itself. I would have loved for him to bug out and look like that the rest of the game. That was super cool. It's basically ball lightning, but just not moving with the ult. That's cool. So anyway, the reason that smoke is not that impactful is that obviously, first of all, they find a support. That was, I think, level 4. And they use a 12-minute smoke cooldown on it. And they're not finding cores in the meantime, right? They're kind of desperate for just getting any sort of meaningful use out of their supports early, since the rotations from Shaker didn't really pay off. The Witch Doctor didn't shut down the clockwork that well. So they have to take what they can get, and it's better than nothing. But then they trade. So at the end of the day, they use the smoke to trade 2 supports for each other, while the Lycan and Storm are free farming, and one of them got a kill. I don't feel like that's good enough for CDEC.
It's not going to be good enough too when this smoke is used to get them into Roshan. That's what EHOME backed up for. They picked up the Vladimirs, they got the smokers, so we had Scriff showing us on the camera too. But the Observer Ward's around, so they know that Lanham is in the neighborhood, but even at this point, it doesn't look like CDEC has any intention of trying to contest them. They're just enjoying the farm in their lanes more than anything else. And maybe some damage into the towers.
Well, they just don't know, right? They don't know.
Well, they only know the Rubik's hovering around there. They don't know Roshan, like Lycan's in there. But you're missing everyone from the top lane. It has to start the flag.
It's very scary to try to go in there. Spirit Breaker just got level 6, but wasn't before. You're crossing the river against Clockwork and Storm, like ridiculously good catch. Rubik even has catch with the lift, and well, I don't even know if they could win the fight. I think Omnislash was like the key ability they could win it with, perhaps. But if that bounces to the wolves a little bit or something like that, the fight's probably a loss.
Yeah, because you need to get the kill instantly. Because Juggernaut did go for that Mask of Madness build with the face bit, so he doesn't have that same survivability as you have with the drums.
With how the early game went, I think it's the right call. If they would have had a better start and they could have looked to push some towers, maybe he could have tried to go for a drum build. But he needs to farm, because this early game for CDEC is not going to result in multiple towers pushed down. If anything, they're probably more on the receiving end against this Lycan, who is doing very well, got the Aegis. Storm can create all the space in the world by just jumping around, since, as we talked about, they didn't really counterpick him that much. They were planning for a timing push. It's not going to happen. CTY will, at any point in time, be able to kill Witch Doctor, or Shaker, or Shadow Fiend on his own.
Yep.
So, if he finds any of those, well, it's pretty good.
He's found the Jugger. RTK is going to hook shot in. That means there's no spin. The Ice Blast is on the way. And he's still do a little bit more damage into aggressive. That healing ward's obviously not going to help him when he's affected by Ice Blast. And Storm in deep into the Omnislash. And Storm's got enough man to ball lining himself away. As RTK getting charged. CTY, enough man to jump up high. He has that. He still had the Aegis the Immortal, which means he's just leaving RTK to die behind the Tier 1 tower. They tried to force it. They at least brought all 5 players in from CDEC, but that's all.
Yeah, that was a good rotation, or a good Fissure from Shaker. I think CTY also a little impatient there, perhaps, because ideally you want to, or RTK rather with a hook shot, ideally you want to wait until the AA Ice Blast is there, so they get the impact damage from it. They only got the I can't remember what it's
the
called.
Ice Blast came after.
The passive effect. What's that called?
Chill?
No.
Not chilling.
Frostburn?
Frostbite?
That's called... Yeah, it's called Frostbitten. Yeah,
Frostbitten.
So it is actually called like Frostbite, like Crystal Maiden's ability, but
Brother and sister.
yeah. So he didn't get Frostbitten, or he got Frostbitten but didn't take the impact damage, and obviously they couldn't get him into Shatter Range for one ability. It's got like 3 words to it, but and the description of it's like one of the longest in Dota. If you're new to the game, you're like, what does my ult do? Well,
Let me just read this essay.
oh, okay.
Terrific.
So dependent on your angle and your distance, it will form a sphere with a radius of x.
So if anyone ever said that algebra wasn't required to actually have real world properties, like this is it, man. Dota 2, obviously they're classing as real world.
Well, they got the tower, they got the Witch Doctor kill, super easy kill for CTY. I only saw the corpse on the ground, and at first I thought it was a courier, but it was Witch Doctor, so he's probably a little bit disappointed with that. He would have liked the courier kill more, I guess. It's worth more gold, it's global gold for the team, but regardless, oh man. They get to steal this stack too. This is something CDEC actually really can't allow to let happen. They need the Juggernaut to get his, and well, this is not.
What a huge thing as well for YJ, because you've now got the Lycan who is building his Necro book, as you were saying. So EHOME, you've taken out all the tier 1 towers, and you've got your level 1 book up for Lycan 13 minutes into the game, on top of the Vlads and on top of the Aegis Immortal you still have for another 2 minutes. EHOME just seems so far superior in any kind of fight at the moment.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy when you think about it, like heroes like Earthshaker and such.
So I think Shiki wants to go for a mech generally, but he might just be scared to get it against an AA. I think you can't let Ice Blast intimidate you that much. Like if
Is he worried about Ice Blast, or is he also worried about like Clockwork Hook in? It could be that early Orchid on the Storm, because you've got a Storm with momentum.
I think Storm can solo him anyway. Like if he Yules, he's just gonna die when he falls down. It's not particularly good against Clockwork. You delay it a little bit, but you're still gonna be stuck in the cogs, or afterwards you just got a battery assaulting Clockwork next to you. I think for both purposes, Mech is better. And if he wanted to escape Clock, he could have gone to Force Staff, but that's not really a first item on Shadow Fiend. So I want to say he's not getting the mech because of Ice Blast, and if that's the reasoning, I think it's a wrong call, because there's going to be other things in this team fight that they need to deal with. There's a lot of AoE damage, Rocket Flare, Fateful, all the static remnants from Storm Spirit, and even Lycan is just going to deal really good split damage if he wants to with all his minions, so they can really force them down now. I don't think CDEC have teamfight potential without this mech, and when it comes to Ice Blast, it generally doesn't hit 5 heroes, right? But if it does, you wait out and then you use it afterwards, or if you get to hit 2 heroes, maybe you can mech up the other 3 if they're in a dangerous position.
Waiting might be a little bit more difficult though. If you look at the Ancient Apparition, he's got himself the point booster already. He's rushing directly into the Aghanim Scepter, so you're going to have a lot more problems with its Ice Blast.
Yes.
Even if it's only going to hit just 1 or 2 heroes, they're out of the fight. Once they're connected on. I have just the Witch Doctor. I don't know if you'll die directly from it, but if there's any other level of chip damage, 800 life to deal with an Aghanim Blast, which will probably be at 2 once he's got the Ags.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a problem. I've got this feeling though that to me this is just this type of game where Storm's just going to own. I don't know what CDEC can really do anymore in this game, and I know it's early to call it at 15 minutes, but they've missed their timing window entirely. They didn't even get the bottom tier 1. They were close, but I think the Glyph held it. And then 15 minutes in, no towers taken, no map control, no counters to a Storm who's ultra farmed. He's got Bloodstone Treads Wand Bottle, minute 15. With 90 CS.
Well, this is their chance. They're going to try and charge in. You got the Nether Strike available. They can bump CTY back, and he got the extra bash too. And then with the Yules, into that ultimate will be enough for the Requiem. No, it won't. The Ice Blast. Rubik got the telekinesis grab, which stopped it all. They're losing 2. They'll probably lose 3 with a jump up north. Actually, CTY, there's not enough mana for the jump, but you've just got the Witch Doctor. You just got the SF.
Well, we got a glimpse of perhaps the reasoning why he wanted to get the Yules. On second thought, with this situation, it actually makes a lot more sense. It's still super situational against the Storm, but it's a way of dealing with him, so they can try to burst him down with Yule's Requiem, because, as we talked about, their actual counters to Storm are Fissure, and Cask is garbage against him. So you've got Fissure. And Charge can be okay, and sometimes you can get Nether Strike off, but that's assuming EHOME don't get a counterplay like the hookshot we saw there, a lift. Yeah, those are basically the things they have to play around with between their...
It might have been a little bit
heroes, but-
easier if you didn't have the Juggernaut, you had someone else which had some level of silence. I'm not saying silencer,
Exactly,
but
yeah.
like someone who's got some control over the Storm Spirit, because you're right with like I know you're talking about this during the drafting phase, even with the Storm Spirit, like you've been seeing Bloodstone builds more than anything else, and sometimes the Orchid, but the BKB is not something you think up very early on. There's no Skywrath mages being played in this qualifier, or not many of them, so you're pretty free to do whatever the hell you want. So you need some better level of control on this Storm Spirit, or he'll just wreck.
It's just that what CDEC picked, I think they willingly gave Storm a pretty good game. I don't think they got caught by surprise by it much, or were like, oh, we don't know how to deal with it with the remaining heroes in the pool. They just had a different game plan that didn't happen, and at this point you got to go to plan Bs, and that's why the Yules is actually a decent choice to buy time against the Storm. If you can get a Requiem, that's awesome. Of course, they tried it there. They were really close. I believe it was the hook shot that did save the Storm Spirit of CTY there. It's a little hard to call when there's this lag on the abilities,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
difficult
did
to see
seem like a
the
hook
small
shot.
precision moments. Is that a Battle Fury Juggernaut?
Yeah. I agree with this build. If they can't play the early push, he's got to get rich.
But how do you get rich when the Storm Spirit's hunting your jungle?
You try. You try to farm with the most efficient farming items you can get. So, Mask of Madness Battle Fury is probably the quickest ramp-up build for... Oh my.
Oh, there's the smoke. They were actually looking to throw out the fissure, but the Storm Spirit just ball lightnings away. They did actually throw out the fissure.
Yeah, they saw their smoke break, so they thought it was from up there, but Invis there on CTY, giving a lot of information. It's a pretty quiet game in terms of kills. I have this feeling EHOME are gaining 500 GPM more than CDEC though. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Is that about 500? It's pretty close. It's actually really close.
You take 20 minutes to get 10. Well, actually, that's only like 7.5. That's experience, but you hit like 10k.
They had 10k gold, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right. It's actually 500.
it's 500 GPM across the team, and
How much you instantly regret this. Necro units level 3 are up. Clockwork hook shots down. He's managed to find out Shiki back on the tower. And Witch Doctor, the Deathborn, is down, but the damage looks to be very, very minimal at the moment. The Juggernaut will get the Omni Slash off, chasing after Lanham. Actually, that's Lanham spinning in the trees. The Rubik stealing the spin. It's a 1-for-1 trade-off, but aggressive. He'll end up dropping down. CTY is still up and running, and they're going to bring down the Earthshaker. That was one remaining Echo Slam, which looked to pop off. But the Tier 2 tower is forfeit. You lost the Clockwork, the Lycan's still up, the Necro units were in the middle of that fight, and CDEC fighting outside the base without prep.
now it's about a 2k gain for EHOME with the tower and a Roche, I think.
And they got so many other ways now to initiate. They got a Rubik with a Blink Dagger as well. CDEC can start getting picked off across the map, which means going high ground for EHOME is even easier. Like you get that one pick off, trigger the level 3 Necro books, Lycan goes into dog form, and you take Tier 3.
This is the type of game where you look at the kill score and you're like, they're not that far ahead. But they're really far ahead.
Very deceiving, that kill score.
It's like you see a lot of these games where, a team got a couple of early kills and then they're trading farm, and we're 3 and 8, and maybe in 10 minutes we're like 4 and 10 because both teams are just content to farm and feel like they have the strategic advantage. This is a very one-sided game. EHOME have controlled everything. They've got all the towers. They've got all the outer towers apart from the top tier 2. They've got 2 Roshans. They farmed more on, I think, 2 out of 3 cores than the Radiant have, and
Yeah.
yeah, what are you going to do?
Just look at the bottom 3 net worths. Like the Ancient Apparition, who was the lowest for EHOME, is still higher than the Spirit Breaker.
Yeah.
And the Earthshaker, who was the one that, like Draskell was mentioning, is the control factor up against the Storm. Like they needed him to get farm, get that Blink Dagger up, so you can jump, Echo Slam, instant lockdown the Storm Spirit, and then follow up with your other 2 stuns. And it's just that factor which doesn't exist in this game for CDEC. And the Juggernaut's not going to give that. They even took away the stun which he has when he goes for the first hit of the Omni Slash. So there's not even that level of control. The Spirit Breaker is your only other one, but as we saw with Spirit Breaker, he ran on the Lycan previously, and then has no mana for Nether Strike, because the Necro units trigger, so he gets the charge off, but then all the mana just disappears.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think EHOME can actually just go high ground, and they're going to go for it now. They use Howl, they push the clip. Oh, wow.
He blinks straight in. He wants the SF, and CTY is going to combo with him. The Yule Scepter will be there, but the Ice Blast already connected, so this should be the S. Trees back out again, but We'll go bit by bit. Spirit Breaker is very, very low. The Ice Blast. Wait, okay, that was from before, so it's not coming in again. But CTY is going in deep, and it looks like it's about to be GG right now because they are just ripping apart the mid. And it really, what cost? EHOME have lost absolutely nothing. The tier 3 tower is almost gone. They will take mid rags, and the creep wave's already pushing in through bottom, so they can go for that as well.
And CTY just farmed an Orchid in 7 minutes. He got Bloodstone minute 15, so it's taking him 7 minutes to get this Orchid. That's a GPM of about 600 for that item.
They go for, again, like Lanham, like, okay. I thought he was going for the telekinesis grab on aggressive.
They're showing some respect for their opponents here. They're going back after taking the racks and getting 2 kills.
You don't want to be too defensive, though.
I feel like they could, well, why not, actually?
What
could happen?
True, like the Aegis has only gone through like what? That was like 1-2 minutes. They took the Aegis thing, instantly went down mid.
Yeah,
so you can already use it to go a second time.
Yeah, they could go reset and go. That's
Yep.
If the Aegis was about to expire and they wanted to use it in a fight, I would agree. But they have time to reset.
How much does the timer actually on the Aegis left? It's got to be.
I think they've got like 3.
They're only 2 minutes into it, so yeah, they got tons
They took
of
Roche
time.
and went straight down mid, and they didn't lose their Aegis to get a lane racks. So Orchid, another 1,500 gold. So he could just buy a plate mail now as well if he wants to build in for Shivas, or he could of course also just hold on to his gold if he wants to build in a.
Man, even a casual plate mail would be nice.
It's pretty good. I think he's going to get it. He's going to sell his wand here. No, never mind. Running a little bit around in circles, but yeah, there's the. This is the patented "we're screwed" smoke.
Well, so use aggressive, and then again, aggressive's position is in bait where CDEC is, so they can move up, but the attack's coming on the wrong lane. Like if the attack was coming on bottom lane and then they're going to jump, then CDEC's in the right spot. But all of EHOME has just gone north because they want to finish that tier 2 tower off.
Yeah, and they'll get it for free. CDEC can't even TP in on time when they realize this is happening. Storm is pushing top, and
maybe they're just trying to get a little bit more farm on the SF. Like, is he like so close to a BKB or something? Or yeah, actually that was it. So they actually smoked out to go out to the jungle to find that last bit of farm for the Shadow Fiend.
No, they're gonna get a tower as well. So, oh yeah, they will get it. But they got to get back really fast. Actually, just staying around for this tower with Juggernaut is gonna. He might be too late. They have no glyph.
Lanham's just gone in as like the front man.
This lane is gone.
Yep.
All right, well, we got a tier 1 for it.
Well, they might still try and fight. They're coming in close, and Lanham straight over. Picks up the Spirit Breaker, but the SF going into...
I'm lagging on this computer as well. So, oh, nice double spin.
Oh, what I miss?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top barracks are under attack. Radiant's top barracks have fallen.
Okay.
Okay, so they lost the SF, they lost their... Okay, they're all dead. GG. Game was good! Game was golden! Game was made in a perfect world.
I mean, on the bright side,
Yeah,
it was pretty easy to predict how that fight was going to turn out. If this was like a nail-biter fight, that would have sucked.
yeah.
But,
Well, like when you have the Rubik jump in, he instantly grabs the SP. It's like, well, okay, there goes my one control, and then the SF gets like Requiem of Souls cancelled. There goes your other major team fight. That goes out the window. Nothing was going to go right after that point. Guys, what was your detailed, real-time thoughts of that game?